Right, Francis Roman. Thank you. Welcome, Francis. And Arinka.
It's Francis.
I'm all right, I don't need that. I would like you to put that up in front of that desk, please.
In front of me.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't speak from what I think. I speak from hard facts. I will tell you at the end of it on things I think. I would like to introduce you to the bellwether man of Canterbury, because he is the man who was most responsible for bringing all the settlers out to Canterbury, and he's never ever had any official recognition for it, because you believe all the propaganda that came out in the early newspapers. Fitzgerald was the Murdoch of Canterbury because he had his own private agenda, and I would not say that unless I could prove it. I have been through all his anonymous letters. I've looked at all the way his linguistics are put together. I know he wrote the anonymous letters, and I also know he wrote the replies. Now, Britain was in his way. William Geese Britain came here as head boy of the school, where he took a specialist school on classics and maths, and that absolutely hosed, until he said something else then, Fitzgerald off, because he went to university and learned his classics there. But Britain could leave him for dead when it came to quoting classics. He's a bellwether man because when he read about it, he owned a newspaper, he and his brother, in Sherborne, and he went to the dead winter, most miserable winter they had for years. He went all the way from Sherborne to London to buy the land. 10 days after the offices opened, they must have run out of bated breath. 10 days after the offices opened, he walked in and bought the first land. So there are a dozen reasons why he is the first man of Canterbury. He started off many things, including Market Square. He was the father of cricket in Canterbury, and I am so sick and tired of reading the newspapers every year when they review the cricket match. It started off this little town, and how Godley scored this. Not a word about anybody else. Godley scored that. Year after year I've read it, and my blood boils, I can tell you that, because he did not score the highest score. My man did. Not only was that, he was the oldest man on the field. Not only that, he bowled out 5 people, and not only that, he bowled and caught another one. But you don't hear a word about that. Talk about convenient reporting. I'm telling you, I deal in facts, not what you think, and not convenient reporting. I offered that original painting, drawing, charcoal, where is it?
Yeah. He's come up to join you.
That original drawing. I offered it to the Canterbury cricket thing, and they can't make up their mind whether they want it or not. So I have made up my mind they're not getting it. They don't deserve it. We can declare war overnight, fire the first shot, sink the first ship, and I'm talking about the Second World War, and they can't make up their mind whether they want a painting of the grandfather of cricket in Canterbury. You make me laugh. And I'll tell you what, it does. It wasn't making me sick to start with. Here you are. I'm going to set that off one way. You can set that off another. If you haven't read it, shame on you. It's about your own city. And in it are many facts you will be certainly not aware of. I can promise you that. There's 40 years of research in that. I couldn't write it because I had cataracts at the time, and I asked my friend Geoffrey Rice would he write up all my notes, and he did. Here I'm going to pass this around of school kids. I rang the school and said, "Did you like a talk on the social conditions of your own area, Avonside girls?" Yes, the teacher brought them round. One girl with one pen wrote one letter to one man, and he gave her a promise that that house wouldn't be bulldozed, which the council had absolutely delegated it, and though I was told I was far too late, they're going to bulldoze it. And I said, "Well, you haven't met me and I'll fight you all the way for it." It took me 8 years to win. So here you are. They were going to sit down in front of the bulldozer. You can throw that around too. He not only started off Market Square, he was also the chair of it. The Jockey Club, he was in that. He was on the board of Christ College when it first started. When the Hagley Park was all mooted and they had a chairman, social distinction and all that jazz, Nobody turned up to be chairman, so the deputy chairman took over. Who was it? William Geese Britton. What did he do? He gave the first trees to Hagley Park, and he gave a sundial. I went and asked, where on earth is the sundial? And the young guy said, well, look, we had a sundial in the shed. It was all in bits, and we just took it to the dump a few months ago. Thanks very much, Christchurch. When you went to buy land, if you did, after all that time, the first person you met was William Geese Britton, because when he bought his land, they set up a library and a reference room, and he was in charge of it. He gave up his house. By the way, if anybody remembers seeing the very first film of Goodbye Mr. Chips, and as Mr. Chips walks out a doorway, at the opening scene, he walks out the doorway, that's the house that William Geese Britton lived in, just if you wanted to know. He also said at the meeting, I will fill the largest ship that leaves, and he did. He filled the Sir George Seymour. He owned the Horsewell Quarry, the stone for which is in our provincial chambers, or one of those things they're going to do up here. But the worst thing of all is the piece of paper that I bought this morning where you're going to repair, what's the name of the house? What's the newspaper cutting?
Rising Home.
Rising Home. You're going to repair Rising Home. Well, bully for you lot. Built in 1852, I think it was. No, 1870 or something like that. Mine is built in 1862. And I can prove that because it's in the flaming Littleton Times. Just in case you doubt my word.
No, I wouldn't for a moment, but I'm just wanting to... I'm just a wee bit tentatively into it, sort of saying that
but
we need to wind this up.
But if you can repair that, when it's been burnt down, you should be looking after Inglefield. I have been to Inglefield in England. I have been to the cricket ground he played on. It's really delightful. There's only one little pub and the cricket ground. No shops. There's a church. Also, he was a brewer's son. I have the records of the family where they say, oh, they had to give up brewing, the father had to give up brewing because it wasn't seemly for the Methodists to be involved in it. What a lot of baldered ash. He didn't give it up, he shifted to Plymouth, where the boy went to school, became the head boy, and on the corner where there's a garden, thanks to me, because you were going to build flats there and I wouldn't allow it, I said, you've got to build a garden. Sir George Grey came and saw the first farm. That was the first cottage he looked at, and that was the first garden he looked at, and a fully operational farm less than 18 months after they were here. Thanks to William Geese Britton, just in case you forget his name.
Okay, we won't, we promise, but does this come to an end sometime soon?
Well, South New Brighton had to be gone by now, so I think in fairness...
I went without that garden once, I actually went and measured
Jeff Francis, what is it that you want us to make sure that Inglefield
I want you to
doesn't
make sure that something of dignity remains to record the actions of this man to whom you should be so grateful.
Right.
And I don't want it left to chance and false promises. I have lived here a long time and I've had a guts full of false promises, I can promise you, and I don't give in. When they said, oh, you're too late, Mrs. Ryman, I said, I bought it and I'll fight you for it. And I did. You were going to build a gigantic motorway. 30 feet of grass, 30 feet of road that way, 30 feet of median grass and 30 feet of grass that way, and a road going that way. And you were going to bulldoze all the houses, including mine and the one next door on the south side, to do it. And you had a traffic officer come down that was lived here and do it all. I had a traffic officer had to come down from Wellington. You saved half a minute in time for the roadway.
But we're paying for it now.
I had to raise $1,000 in a day by opening that house at $1 a head.
Okay. I'm just thinking, Francis, do you want to sort of just wrap this up with exactly what you'd like us to have to do?
I want Inglefield saved. If you can save that Rising Home when it's been burnt down, you can get your act together and save Inglefield Lodge.
Okay.
I'm quite sure.
Okay.
If the will was there.
And more money for
I think you've made the point quite well.
And more money for heritage.
More money for heritage.
Right.
Doesn't get
So the
enough,
heritage
it
of the
starves.
Okay.
So I'll have the books back when you finish, please.
Do you want this guy back too?
They're available to buy.
Whereabouts?
I had to pay, Jeff and I had to pay for those. We had to pay to have them published.
Okay. Okay.
Scorpio books?
Yes, you can go and buy them at Scorpio Books. You can order them at any bookshop.
Great.
Okay.
If they haven't got them, shame
Looks
on them.
fantastic. I'm going to do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Francis.
There's
It was-
no use speaking unless you feel strongly about it.
No, we got that. Yeah.
Right. The book is called Cricketing Colonists.
Cricketing colonists.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you very much.
Is something coming to your committee on this?
And he was called Swarthy and Italianate. Have a look at him. Swarthy and Italianate. Have a look at that.
There is.
That was in the newspaper, by the way. If you believe all you read, you might as well eat all you
Thank
see.
you. Okay, thank you, Francis. This comes up in the Hagley Ferrymead Community Board report today. Okay? Okay, Connie from Go Cycle.
Good morning.
Morning. Welcome. You kind of know the rules now.
Yeah, but I'm still very nervous.
That's all right. We're not
Bear with
terrifying
me.
at all. We were quite nervous before too.
We're even more nervous now.
I'm not so frightened. I'm Connie Christensen. I'm the initiator of Go Cycle Christchurch, helping more adults to cycle for transport. It's a free initiative that I have started. There is no money involved apart from the money I'm putting into it personally, which is not that much at the moment. I don't have so much money, mostly my time. I have recruited about 20 volunteers so far who are also keen cyclists, and we're not talking sports cycling here, we're talking everyday cycling. The thing is that Christchurch has, and the council, and I think this is brilliant, you have set up a brilliant cycle safe scheme for kids to learn to cycle, and I think that's fantastic. But there is nothing to help adults who don't have the confidence to cycle for whatever reason. I know that there are major cycleways coming out, and that's brilliant, and we have new reduced speeds and stuff, and it's all very good and helping a lot. But there's still a lot of adults who have the perception of danger, and they're scared of cycling on the roads, and that's where I was involved in Flocks on Bikes for a couple of years after the earthquakes, and got in touch with some people that were saying that they were really struggling to cycle on their own from A to B. Part of it is that people sit in their cars and go, Ricketson Road is really scary. I can't cycle. And that's where we come in. We help people one-on-one, for example, is here, where if someone specifically wants to cycle from A to B, and it can be from their home to work, to school, to the shops, or if they just want to cycle around in a certain area, we will try and find someone who lives in that area. So local knowledge is good when you're trying to find cycle routes, and as I say, with the cycle infrastructure that's going in, it's going to be easier and easier, but there are still lots of nice back streets and parks that you can go through that people just don't think about. So that's what we're doing, and we will come out and cycle it with that person to get them off to a good, confident start. We also do short rides for new cyclists, and we've done about 10 of them so far. It's sort of been the quiet season over autumn and winter, so we're hoping that it's going to have a bigger take-up over spring and summer. The short rides are slow, and it's more experienced riders are welcome to come along as well, but it's all set out for the new cyclists, and we will only take so many of new cyclists. So this is what we're offering, those two things at the moment. So I've spent a lot of time going around hanging up posters that I've printed at home, speaking with people, coming here, presenting it, trying to network a lot. And it's become clear to me that it's very easy to get hold of those people who already cycle. I can preach till the end of the time for people who are already cycling. They're not really my target market. The people we're trying to get hold of are those who are apparently the 50% of the population who are interested but worried. They're worried and not very confident for whatever reason. Some of them, we really just need them to look at what we have to offer in links on the Facebook page that are set up, and away they go. They think, oh, I know a colleague or something, and they go and do their own thing. The rest will contact us and we'll try and help them along, and hopefully they will then move on either to join flocks on bikes or they'll start cycling to work. The idea here is that this is a benefit. It's part of the solution I see for the transport problems. Part of the solution also maybe to green prescriptions. People who haven't cycled for a long time, we've had people come out either on one-on-ones or at the short rides. Age group, they vary from 20 to over 70. People who are retired now are looking at doing more leisure riding, but they don't go on the hills for obvious reasons. They want to cycle around in their own neighbourhoods, and that can only be good for neighbourhoods, I think, that we have more people cycling around in the neighbourhoods as well as cycling to and from work. So it's all manner of cycling we're looking at here. It's really just trying to be part of a bigger solution, and what I'm getting to here, don't know how much time I have spent.
Apparently 5 minutes.
Oh, sorry. Is that where you guys can help us is trying to get in touch with those thousands of people who are potentially the interested but worried people. One of the things that I've been thinking about that you could help us directly is, in the rates are being sent out, you send flyers out, and I'm not suggesting that you send these ones out, but you send flyers out about all manner of good stuff that is going on. You could do your own with a cycle flyer. It's not only about Go Cycle Christchurch, but there's a lot of different ways. Promoting your own website for Transport for Christchurch, for example, and the good stuff that is on there, for reminding people that there is that. That would be one way that you could help us a lot, because we have no money and no ability to really get in touch with all the people we're trying to help, and I'm only just scratching the surface. So,
Phil,
and encourage employers as well.
Phil.
Can I say?
Connie, can I say, look, thank you so much for talking with us in your presentation today, because it's actually a really important point in terms of how we coordinate it, the training and people learning to feel confident to be on our cycleways which we're building.
Yeah.
And there's also you mentioned a number of programs on our agenda today. There's a reference to a Bikes in Schools program, so it needs to be coordinated and pulled together, and
Yeah.
we will do that.
The point is, it's very good having all these kids who are itching to go out cycling, but you're not going to get them cycling because their parents will not allow them. And that's part of this perception of danger. And
so they're part of the
if
training
parents
program.
can't see themselves cycling, they won't let their kids cycle.
They're part of the training
So
programs
that's
which
what
we
I'm
should also be
trying to-
involved with.
Can I
Connie.
just
Yeah.
clarify, Phil? When Gil Penalosa spoke, he talked about the possibility of closing off some parts of maybe the central city or something for a couple of hours on a Sunday morning to encourage cycling, and it was something that we were quite keen that we explored. I'm just wondering if Connie's information and that information could go to ITI, and we could go to Infrastructure Committee, and we could have a talk about what's possible to actually promote the use of cycles in a very safe way, so that people don't have to compete with
I'm sure
cars.
it'd be good if you do that, if Connie does that, comes to the Infrastructure Transport Environment Committee to have some even informal discussion. And as Vicky is suggesting, it'd be great if, in fact, not just waiting till the cycleways open, but if we could have a big event by closing some streets and
Well,
having some safe
after
cycling,
the
that
Gil
kind of thing.
Penalosa event, we were looking at the possibility of doing something monthly, and on, say, the first Sunday of each month.
Yeah.
Maybe closing some streets off so people just have a celebration on
Yeah.
bikes, as it were.
Yeah. And that's the kind of thing. I mean, we could arrange one of the short rides in connection with that. If
With a whole lot of others.
Yeah, for those who are new to it. And we do try and link in with Icicles, for example, and some of you might have know about them, Inner City East Cycles, who are also doing social work and giving away second-hand bikes to the community. That we link in and do a short ride when they have workshops. But it is really, really difficult to get people to come out, and it needs reinforcing in a bigger way.
So how about we undertake that at the infrastructure committee, we actually have a talk about how we can promote cycling
We'll put that on the
in
agenda.
very safe ways.
Yeah.
Okay?
And do that in an informal way too.
Thank you, Connie, very much indeed.
Good job, amazing.
Yeah, thank you for all that you're doing. Okay, that concludes the Vox Pops, a wee bit late.
No, we've got one more.
One more, sorry. Oh, sorry, so, okay. I'm so, you're not from the Patonk Club, are you? You're not from Patonk?
Yes.
You are. So you're not part of Vox Pops, but you are next because you're part of deputations by appointment. Your subject is on the agenda. So no, stay there and come and do your stuff. Sorry, it does conclude the Vox Pops. Yeah. Okay. Andrew Finlay and Robin Ward.
Thank you.
Yep. Welcome from the Christchurch Patonk Club. And this relates to item 10 on the agenda. Welcome.
Thank you. It's relating to the lease of the former United Bowling Club rooms and the greens in Hagley Park. Thank you. And the Christchurch Patonk Club hopes to obtain a lease so we can move from our existing site to the new site. So I start off by saying this is a momentous occasion for Christchurch Patonk. And we hope that today your agreement to grant a lease will bring to an end 21 years of striving to obtain security of tenure and access to our own club rooms. The Christchurch Patonk Club was formed in 1994, and prior to the earthquakes we were the largest Patonk club in New Zealand with over 120 members. This number has reduced and is currently sitting at 70. Our competitive player numbers have increased, but our social club numbers have decreased due to the lack of facilities. So we have a changed membership dynamics. We have 3 members currently in the New Zealand Men's Open team, and several of our players are ranked in the top 6 of the competitive playing categories, including Open Women, Senior Men and Senior Women. Patonk New Zealand has recognised our proven organisational abilities and has scheduled Christchurch to host the New Zealand National Doubles in November 2016 and the International Oceania Six Nation Tournament in November 2017. We moved to our existing site beside Victoria Lake in 1995 at the suggestion of the City Council staff, and we were sharing the facilities with the North Hagley Bowls, but when they suddenly relinquished their lease, we made our first lease application. We have been actively seeking a formal lease since 1996. We have completed a submission to the Hagley Park Management Plan and have been advised that we are entitled to a lease in Hagley Park. However, negotiations stalled while a decision was made on the then existing pavilion, and after the earthquake damage, any decision on the lease was deferred until after the building was demolished. When we restarted our lease negotiations, we were advised the council's preference was for our club to relocate to the proposed sports hub centred on the area formerly leased to United Bowls. We believe that relocating our club to this existing sports area is the best interest for Hagley Park. It allows for a fuller utilisation of the former United Bowling Club greens and pavilion and releases the area beside Victoria Lake for the benefit of the wider public. We understand the council plan is to eventually remove all hedges and fencing from the site to open up the area between the current Botanic Gardens car park and Victoria Lake and re-landscape the entire area. The pavilion has already been demolished and a storage shed building removal is planned. This means there are 2 less buildings in Hagley Park and a lakeside recreation area can be developed. The landscape plan which you have, which has been prepared in 2002, shows the area that can be redeveloped for this purpose. Christchurch Pedant Club has treasured the privilege of being able to use this sheltered site, and we have maintained this area to Botanic Garden standard at our own expense. Christchurch Pedant is working closely with High School Old Boys Rugby Club and United Croquet to establish a charitable trust to administer the area formerly leased to the United Bowls as a sports and recreation hub, and all will share the existing facilities. A draft trust deed has been prepared and is being considered by the respective clubs. When the deed has been registered, a copy will be made available to the council. We request that the council favourably considers their application to grant a lease to the proposed North Hagley Community Sport and Recreation Trust for the area previously leased to United Bowling Club, subject to the formal registration of the trust.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions? This comes up in the agenda slightly later. Any questions? Phil?
Can I just ask you, with your club, say, going ahead with a further building, so is the building be available to other organisations or other people besides the Pedant Club?
Yes, the building is there already. It's the old United Bowling Club building, and the concept is that we would share the facilities. That's why we went on the basis of a charitable trust. Trust would administer the building, and the idea is that other sports such as touch, there's a group of players that play kickball, which is a bit like volleyball, only you kick it, and perhaps even the Cranmer Bridge Club were interested in perhaps using the facilities. So we would envisage it being available for a large number of sporting groups.
So, and that they could use that within the terms of your lease?
Yes, the draft lease which has been prepared provides for that, and was prepared by the City Council staff.
Thank you.
Can I just clarify, you've seen what's in the agenda today.
Yes.
Are you in support of what's there? Do you support the recommendation that's there?
Yes.
Right, great. Thank you very
Sorry.
much indeed. That's all right, no problem.
Mental blank there.
It was a hard question, yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Guys, it's 10:30. I'm aware that there's quite a lot of people waiting. Would you like to go through to 11:15 and then have a coffee? I'm just aware that the Britain motorbike is going to be over at the art gallery between 10 and 11. Like a 5-minute break. Some
Great
stage.
to run over there.
Okay, so we will now thank you for your deputations. Thank you, everyone.